Good evening and welcome to Talking Point, The Vote. Now, it's been a momentous past 3 weeks for Singapore at the 2012 Olympic Games, and our Olympians have certainly held our flag high by pulling off what's arguably Singapore's best showing in the Games in our sporting history. But just how proud are we of Olympics performances? Well, our phone lines are, of course, open right now at 66910028, so do keep these calls and questions coming. Also, find us on Talking Point's Facebook page, and you can tweet us at TP Vote to make your voice heard. Our poll will remain open throughout the show, so cast your vote right now at channelnewsasia.com/TP. Remember, you can change your vote anytime. Let's take a quick look at that poll right now, shall we? Our poll question for today is, are you proud of Singapore's performance at the Olympics? Right now, 52.9% are saying yes, 47.1% are saying no. So keep those votes coming in. Let me introduce to you our Olympic team, so to speak, joining us on Talking Point today. Joining us on the program, on the extreme end of your screens, you'll see is Olympic medalist for Team Singapore's table tennis for the individual and women's team, Feng Tianwei, joins us. We're also joined on the program, in the center of the couch, you'll see Annabelle Pennefather. She's the Vice President for the Singapore National Olympics Council. Right next to me, Nicholas Fang, National NMP, and we're also joined by another Olympian, Colin Cheng. You'll see him in the Team Singapore colors right there from Team Singapore, a sailor for Team Singapore. Thank you all for joining us. First off, I've got to say, Tianwei, congratulations on 2 medals, 2 wins that you were telling us you had to bring home in your backpack through the airport. That must have been amazing. So congrats and well done. And thank you for bringing your medals here today as well. Let's start by talking a little bit and find out more about what's going to happen in today's program. But let me tell you a little bit about how it's going to flow. Tianwei does have a translator. So during the program, somebody will be translating what I'm saying to her. And at the same time, one of our colleagues will be translating her answers and replies for us. So there might be a little gap. So just remember there's a time for translation that's taking place. Okay, so before we go any further, though, let's take a look at a summary of Singapore's performance at this year's Games. Okay, we'll come to that in just a little bit. Of course, if you're wondering where my partner in Talking Point, The Vote, Dominic Lowe, is right now, he's not feeling well, so he's away from the program today. Dominic, get better soon and get back to work next week. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Let me take a quick poll of you guys. Nick, let me start with you. Are you proud of Singapore's performance, yes or no?
Amazingly proud of what we've achieved in this game.
Okay. So it's a yes plus 100?
Yes.
Okay. Annabelle, how about for yourself?
Of course. Having led so many Singapore contingents, I'm always proud of what we achieve. And I know how hard all the athletes work for it.
A resounding yes there as well. Colin, you're an Olympian, so it's a bit biased, but are you proud of Singapore's achievements?
Absolutely, I think so. I think we've punched above our weight.
Tianwei, what about yourself? Proud of Singapore's performance?
我一定是很骄傲的，主要是能够代表新加坡拿到了2枚奖牌，而且08年的时候也拿到了1枚，所以对自己来讲3枚奖牌，我觉得还是蛮开心的。
Of course, I'm extremely proud. In 2008 as well, I also got 1 medal. So to achieve 3 medals, I'm extremely happy.
Okay, congratulations once again. Let's go back to the poll, though. This is interesting. Talking Point, The Vote is all about hearing from people and hearing their vote. We're seeing that 44% are saying, 45.3% are saying no right now. So that's almost split down the middle, actually. Nicholas, why do you think we might have so many people on the no side of the fence right now?
I think this is something that we'll talk about a bit more in depth later, but we don't really have a sporting culture in Singapore where people get behind sports, get behind national teams, get behind our athletes and really enjoy the drama and the thrills of sports. And I think if everybody did that, there's no way that anybody would be not proud of what we've achieved. Tianwei and Colin did a great job as well. And I think that people are focusing on separate issues that tarnish sports a little bit, and that really takes away from what sports is actually supposed to be. It's supposed to be colorblind. It's supposed to be getting behind the excitement and the wonderful achievements of our athletes.
Annabelle, I see you nodding. Do you agree with what Nicholas is saying? That maybe that's why we're seeing 45% saying no.
And well, I was at the Games wearing my hat as a member of the jury of appeal for hockey, and the hockey stadium was in Olympic Park. And I just saw the tremendous crowds and how they cheered athletes, even GB and other athletes, which spurred them on to achieve, And I think that's what it should be about, whether they win medals or they're not. They are our athletes, and that's what we should be looking at in the sports arena, and how it can help us, progress our sporting culture, our sporting achievements.
Let's see if our votes do continue to change and hopefully reflect some of that maybe. Right now, though, let's once again look at a recap of Singapore's performance at the Olympic Games London 2012.
This Olympics, Singapore sent a total of 23 athletes to compete in 9 different sports. Our Olympians brought back 2 medals, 1 individual and 1 for a team event. For the first time, Singapore sent a female weightlifter, gymnast and canoeist. Several of our Olympians also broke their own personal records in the Games.
Tian Wei, you were instrumental really in Singapore's performance, and I know many people have questions for you. So many people are tweeting us right now at TP Vote with questions for you. Let me start off with one from Felicia Huang Fei. Felicia, she says, congratulations to Tian Wei. She'd like to know how you pulled through the 5 years of training.
首先说，我能从中国来到新加坡，代表新加坡，我自己本身是对我来讲是一种机会，给予我能够上场比赛的机会。然后，当然我心中也有这个梦想，希望能够站在奥林匹克的舞台上，希望能够展示自己。那么有着这样的梦想，我想再苦再难的训练呢，我也会去克服。的确，这5年走过来不容易，我们也经历很多坎坷，走过了很多风风雨雨，但是我心中就是有比较坚定的信念，能够让我支持下去。
To be able to come from China to Singapore, personally, it was a chance for her to be able to compete, to stand on the competition stage. And so it's always been a dream for her, especially the Olympic stage. So because of this dream that she always had with her, regardless of the hardships, the trials and tribulations, she was able to overcome simply because of this fire in her.
All right, accomplishing a dream, that's what the Olympics seems to be made of as well. Colin will be coming to you with your Olympic hopes and aspirations and what has gone through for your experience in just a little bit. But right now, let me once again, Tian Wei, talk to you a little bit about the performance. We talked about how this is one of Singapore's best performance, arguably 2 medals right there sitting on our table after all. Do you think that you could have done better maybe?
我希望自己还能够做得更好，因为我的目标还有16年的奥运会，希望自己在16年当中会表现得更出色。
Of course, I hope to do better, especially looking forward to the 2016 Olympics. I hope to achieve much more then.
Indeed, we all hope so as well. What do you think about the overall performance? I mean, how did the team motivate itself? We asked this of Ms. Lee Bi-Hua last week, live from London. Coming back from the loss to Japan, how did the team motivate itself to go forward?
我觉得主要是我们坚定的信念吧，因为我们之前也有对这个奥运会也有这个目标，所以无论遇到多大的困难，我们就是也没有受到特别多的影响，也没有去气馁。虽然是我们半决赛也输了日本了，但是我们还是能够在3、4名的争夺中站起来。就是有一句话，就是从哪里跌倒从哪里爬起来。我觉得这一点是非常重要的。
I think we always have the faith, and we had the perseverance to reach this Olympic goal, so we weren't too overly affected by the losses. And even though we lost the earliest matches, in terms of the 3rd and 4th placing, we were very focused on what we wanted to do. And so there's a Chinese saying, you just pick yourselves up from where you fall.
I think there's an English saying like that too. Colin, a lot of people have been focusing and talking about table tennis and the wins, obviously, something to celebrate and achieve. But something to celebrate and achieve is the fact that we had so many young people representing Singapore, being Olympians, and having amazing performances like yours as well. From what I understand, Colin posted the best finish ever by a Singapore sailor when he finished 15th out of 49 boats in the men's laser standard on August the 4th. He also registered, by the way, the best result by an Asian sailor ever since 1996. What does it feel like to have achieved that? These are quite startling statistics.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. It's my first games. I came here without too much expectations. Just wanted to go out there and try my best. And as it turns out, I had some spectacular races. And
no doubt this is way and beyond your personal bests.
Well, well, in sailing it's hard to go by personal best because you don't time it as against a clock. But it's yeah, I mean, 15th is an incredible result, and I mean, I didn't realize that was the best result by an Asian.
But that's the best kind of performance when you don't realize it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just incredibly proud and just thankful for all the opportunities I've been given and all the support I've
Good for you. Congratulations again on those achievements. I want to get more of your perspectives in just a bit. But Nicholas and Annabelle, I want to come to you. I mean, Singapore has won 4 medals in its entire history. Of course, we all know our first medal was the individual silver from Tan Hao Liang for weightlifting in 1960. We had the silver from the women's table tennis team event 2008 in Beijing. 2 this year as well. Although we've been hearing a lot of murmuring as well from the ground and on online social media, some people say that 1 silver medal is better than 2 bronze medals. What's your take on that? Annabelle first, perhaps.
Well, I'm one person who's never measured success or achievement just by medals, and I've been very clear about that. It is, at the end of the day, especially at the Olympics, it's how the athlete performs, giving their best, you know, aiming for the best and achieving it. And so if
is that what Singaporeans are looking for as well, watching from our TV sets here?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is it. When people talk about colors of medals, that seems to be the only thing that they are judging the performances by. But the Olympics is such a massive high-level event. Just getting there, it takes years and years and years of hard work, injury, pain, and even then everything has to come together for you to win a medal. We saw so many of the top athletes who won medals in Beijing not make it this time. Injuries, everything. So that's what it's about. It's about the spirit, as you know, Colin said, he went there just going
did his best.
The passion, the love of sport, and anybody who does anything else, when they do that, people say, oh, great, wonderful. So why
So not the
can't
color
we...
of the medal to you, and it shouldn't be, you say.
Yeah, and as I said, it's giving your best, and sure, it's wonderful to receive a medal, you know, any color at that level. A bronze medal is still a very high achievement.
I'm going to get Nick's response in just a minute, but we're going to take a quick call from Tom. But Tom, before we speak to Tom, actually, Tianwei, what do you think? Is 1 silver better than 2 bronzes? 2 bronzes better than 1 silver?
我是觉得主要是我参加比赛的这种目的，主要是去感受这个奥运会的精神，主要是展现自己的这个对拼搏的一种精神。奖牌我觉得颜色不重要，希望大家看到我们的就是我们背后的艰辛，并不是说我今天拿到2块牌，然后我又拿到多少奖金，我是很轻而易举的事儿。我从事这项运动已经20多年了，所以说每一天我有训练，我有流血也有流泪的时候，所以希望大家会能够更多的支持我们一点，看到我们背后的艰辛，这样。
I think my main objective in competition, any competition, is actually to feel the atmosphere. I think she's talking about the Olympics. And I basically strive to achieve as much as I can. So I hope sincerely that people can see the hard work that goes behind, you know, behind the scenes for all these athletes. It's not been easy for her personally, and every day she says she's been doing this for 20 years, 20 plus years. So she bleeds, she cries every day. So she hopes that, you know, people would see all that, and also to give the support to the athletes.
I think we've got people giving support. Tom standing by indeed. 669-11938. Tom.
Hi there. Hello.
Hi, thanks for joining us. What do you want to say, Tom?
Oh, I just want to say, you know, congrats to the table tennis team, you know, as a player myself, you know, seeing all the hard work she has put in, you know, in fact, whatever she just did so far, it motivates a lot of people, including myself. In fact, you know, the medal isn't the important point. At the end of the day, it's actually, you know, the spirit, you know, the sportsmanship and all that pulls us through, you know, and the never give up spirit. So congratulations for Tianwei.
Tom, what do you think about all those people? I mean, there's a lot of people saying things online or saying things on polls saying that, you know, that perhaps no, we're not proud of the performance. What do you say to people like that?
No, you know, to me, you know, they can say, you know, they are not supportive, you know, based on, you know, negative reasons. Say, for example, you know, maybe, you know, just brought in foreign talent, you know, therefore, you know, we are winning medals, you know, but Singapore didn't do anything. Yeah, you know, to these people, you know, if you guys could, you know, back up a little bit, you know, buck up a little bit, in terms of the training and all, be like what Tian Wei is doing, you could probably achieve, you could probably achieve medals in the future.
Tom, thank you for voicing your support and for joining us. The number, I should say correctly, actually, is 66910028. We'll take more calls. And Nick, I'm proud we're coming back with you where we continue with Talking Point, the vote. Stay with us right here on Channel News Asia. Welcome back to Talking Point, the vote. What you've just seen are shots of the Olympics victory parade held on Saturday. Feng Tianwei, one of our guests today, and her team took to the streets on an open-top bus. We've got lots of tweets and phone calls coming in. Keep them coming into @TPVote and 66910028. I'm going to read out some of our tweets coming in right now. Isabella Roar, you say, "Hi Tianwei, you're awesome and we love you. Congrats on the bronze." K-pop addict Jen, or K-pop addicted Jen, now says, Feng Tianwei is live on Channel News Asia. Yes, I'm proud of SG's performance. That's how you spell the S. Samb FG, every single athlete who represented Singapore at the Olympics should feel very proud of themselves. Keep those tweets coming in, everybody. And, of course, you can call in live right now and chat with us and send your well wishes to our representatives from Team Singapore at 66910028. Tianwei, let me talk to you right now. Were you surprised by the show of support on the celebration parade on Saturday?
我会觉得，当时肯定没有想到回来会有这么多的支持者，而且我一下飞机场，觉得场面让我很感动。几乎有800-900人那样，每个人喊我的名字，而且举着那个很多标语。而且在接下来的活动当中，也是很多支持者一直在说我们很棒啊，我为此也是感到很骄傲的事情。
I really didn't expect such a big turnout at the airport. I think there were like 800 to 900 supporters, calling out our names, waving banners.
Like rock stars.
Yes. And also, not just that at the airport itself, but at the other events that I've been to, the support has been tremendous. So I'm very, very proud of this.
You've been busy since you come back. I know you haven't had time to rest just yet. Colin, since you've touched down literally this morning,
yes, that's right.
Has there been time to reflect on the fact that you're an Olympian? You come back from an amazing performance. Has there been some celebration for you?
Sort of. I mean, our event ended pretty early, and we spent some days in London, and it's sort of sunk in, but it's still an unbelievable feeling, and yeah, it'll take some time.
Okay, so celebrations are planned, I'm sure. Your own victory parade, perhaps. Tianwei, do you think that we celebrate our Olympians and our sports athletes enough in Singapore?
我觉得应该是作为我们来讲是非常非常满意的一个庆祝活动，对，因为每一天几乎都有收到信件啊，或者是有人的支持什么的啊。
I think for our sport, we have to be satisfied with the level of support. Almost every day we get fan mail, letters. So
fantastic. So we need more support as well, perhaps. Nick, let me talk to you about that previous question that I asked everybody. 2 bronzes versus 1 silver. Any weightage issue there for you?
Well, to me, I think that's the wrong way of looking at it. Sports, in its essence, is about stories. It's about wonderful stories, about people putting in the effort, overcoming odds. Like Tianwei was saying, training hard every day, sweating, bleeding to the point of crying, and then surmounting the obstacles and beating your opponents on a high-pressure cooker stage, and delivering something for the country. And if you ask me, is 1 silver better than 2 bronzes? I like stories. I like more stories. And if we can get 10 bronzes, or 10 medals, who cares what color it is? The kind of performance that these guys put on show and what Colin has done, these are stories that should inspire and should motivate people, and we shouldn't really get bogged down in the debate of what sort of program or what sort of talent are we using. When it comes to a situation like the Olympics, I think people don't realize how difficult it's been for all our athletes.
No, sometimes it's easy to be a spectator.
Exactly.
But that's part of the sporting thing, to be the spectator as well. But we're also talking about how we recognize our sports athletes. And speaking of the Olympic experience, we do know that Singapore does have a monetary incentive as well for Olympic athletes. There's $1 million for the gold, $250,000 for the bronzes. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think that that is recognition?
I think there's definitely recognition, and there have been these stories going around that we probably pay per medal the highest level in the world. Much more than what the British are paying. But I remember Stephen Redgrave, after Sydney Olympics, he came through Singapore and did some talks with young people, and he heard about this $1 million payday. And then he sort of had a different spin on it. He said, if I asked you to drive from point A to point B and tell you that when you get to point B, I'll give you money for the gas, that doesn't really work out in terms of a sports development. He says when he's won 5 gold medals now, and each time he won a gold medal, he got nothing, nowhere near £1 million. But over the 4 years for each Olympic cycle where he prepared, the investment that went into his training, into his equipment, more than £1 million for sure. And I think that's an interesting way to look at
a different spin on looking at it, and the years that goes into it. Just to give you a rundown of the awards for the Olympics medalists under the multi-million-dollar awards program. For the individual medals, the gold is at $1 million, the silver is at $500,000, and the bronze is at $250,000. For teams, gold is $1.5 million, silver is $750,000, and bronze is at $375,000. Colin, as an Olympian, as a Team Singapore athlete, what do you think about, is this, to you, does it resemble recognition? I mean, we talk about parades, we talk about well-wishers that come in, this kind of monetary incentive, is it also recognition to you?
I think it's recognition, yeah. But I think at the end of the day, personally, I as an athlete, I don't do it for the money. I do it for the love of the sport, and I mean, it's a noble mission to go out there and show the world how good a sailor you are.
What do you think about the sacrifice that goes into the years and years of training, the money that you've spent? It might add up to
yeah, definitely. I mean, sailing's not a cheap sport at all.
I think we have to bear in mind here, when we talk about money on a global sports level, the money that goes into the training, and both of you know that the time and the years that you have to spend in there, and the sacrifices you make in terms of career, education,
costs,
and things like that. Is this anywhere near to what a footballer is earning, for example, or in terms of a golfer or a tennis player?
Well, those are pro athletes, to be fair.
Fair enough, but the training and the time that they put in there is nowhere different from what these pro athletes put in.
Okay.
You know, these guys, I think, train just as much and just as hard and give up just as much to do us proud.
So, what do you think about I mean, Nick talks about what you've given up. What have you given up in pursuit of your sports? You talked about the hard training for 20 over years. What have you given up to pursue this medal?
很多很多，我觉得我从小5岁开始运动，然后几乎没有什么童年啊，每天就是上下午的训练，而且有的时候晚上也练，基本每天都在训练。然后上了小学以后，基本是上下午训练，然后上下午上课，然后晚上再训练，所以我每天睡觉的时间只有几个小时而已，就是长此以往的这样，然后慢慢进入专业队以后，也没有很多时间去跟大家玩或是休息，也是长期的这么在训练。我的生活当中就只是除了训练以外，其他的东西都很少。比如说我也很想学英文，但是我还是没有时间去学，这样基本上都是在训练这样。
Sounds like a hard life. She's had to give up lots of things since young. Since she was 5, basically she started training in sports. Basically there was no childhood. Training goes all the way from morning to night. When she started school, the same thing. She would go to school in the mornings and the afternoons. At night it was all about training. Sleep, just very few hours a day, and ever since she turned professional, of course, the training intensified. So basically her life is like a whole stretch of training. There's one thing she wants to do, which is to learn English, but she hasn't had time for that either.
She didn't say anything about boyfriend. Maybe
yeah. Well, what have you given up, though? I mean, you talked about the childhood. That's a huge sacrifice, obviously. But have you given up a career ambition or another opportunity for a career, maybe?
首先学业是 肯定是放弃了。然后呢，我觉得放弃最多的就是家庭。我就跟父母的一起生活的时间很短，几乎我5岁差不多10岁以后就没有跟父母生活在一起了，都是我自己一个人。我觉得这点也比较辛苦，而且我父亲去世又比较早，所以说家庭的重担都落在我母亲身上。自己跟母亲在一起的时间又很少。就是跟家人相聚的时间也很少，所以说，对这个方面，我觉得还是放弃了一些东西吧。
The first sacrifice would be in terms of, the time spent in school. So she had to sacrifice that. The other thing, of course, is the time spent with family. And she basically, since she was 10, she hasn't had a lot of time with her parents. Her father passed away when she was quite young, so the mother had to shoulder the responsibility of looking after the home, and time spent with the mum was very little as well. So that's the biggest thing, the biggest sacrifice that she had to make.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. We've got some more calls coming in at 669-10028. Mr. Tan is standing by. Hi, Mr. Tan.
Yes.
Hi, thanks for calling through. What do you have to say, Mr. Tan?
Yeah. Oh, I support the England team very much. So that's why I'm very proud. The 2 bronze is better than none. Yeah. All the time I support them.
I heard it's inspiring you to maybe start playing sports again?
Sorry?
I heard that this is inspiring you to maybe start playing sports again?
I can't hear because I'm in the television.
Oh, that's why. You don't understand too near, but I heard, this is what I was told, is that you said that this is inspiring you to maybe play your badminton all over again.
I'm at 77 now. Oh, wow. I still play badminton every 45. Yeah.
Fantastic. Mr. Tan, thank you for calling in to show your support. We've got Jolene standing by right now. Jolene, hi.
Hello.
Hi, Jolene. What do you have to say?
Okay. First, I want to say Ken Wei is awesome. Congratulations and keep up the good work. But I have a question to ask her. Is she proud to represent our Singapore flag? Or would she rather be standing under the Chinese flag?
I see. Thank you very much.
That's quite a different question.
There are 2 different questions, but I'll let Tian Wei answer that when we return. Stay with us. Talking Point, the vote, and we'll get your question answered, Jolene, just after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Talking Point, the vote, everybody. We're talking about Singapore's performance at the Olympics. And, of course, I want to remind you, you can place your votes on our website at channelnewsasia.com/TPvote. We've got lots of tweets coming in as well. I'm going to go to our Twitter page. We have one from EE81CK. He says, don't blur the issue. We're most against importing glory with money. That's what EE says. We're going to get some views about some of those tweets in just a bit from our panel, but right now I want to give Tian Wei a chance to answer one of our earlier callers' question. Jolene says, Tian Wei, would you be more proud winning this medal under the Singapore flag or under the China flag, was Jolene's question.
我觉得这个问题也有很多人问过我。首先我要感谢新加坡给我一个骄傲的机会。我觉得在哪个国家打球并不重要，最重要的是能够体现一个人在场上拼搏的精神，就像一名战士在战场上战斗一样。可以打一个比喻，中国是生育我的地方，但是新加坡是养育我的地方。我觉得两者都不可分割，所以说我会觉得我自己在场上能够表现自己那一刻的时候是最骄傲的。
I think I've been asked this question many times, and firstly she wants to thank Singapore for giving her this chance to be proud of herself. It's not very important which country she's representing. The most important thing is to have this stage for her to shine. So basically she describes China as the place where she was born, but Singapore really is the place where she was allowed to grow.
So does it give you a lot of pride to stand under the Singapore flag and raise the medal then?
我觉得是新加坡给予我这个机会，我能够展示自己。
Singapore gave me the chance basically to show off my talents.
My Mandarin's getting better, I understood that one.
Yeah.
We of course went to the streets, our Talking Point team actually went to the streets to find out how our Singaporeans feel about our performance at this year's Olympic Games.
I feel happy and I'm proud of it. Yes, Singapore have 2 bronze medals.
Oh, of course I'm proud. It's from Singapore. The name is there.
We read something that is good because gymnastics, we got canoeing also, first time. It's not, at least something is going, we are improving.
It would be good, of course, if our own Singaporeans, you know, as in like, how would you call it, purebred Singaporeans, can win the medal.
I think it's a win for Singapore. Yeah, basically. Well, they are trained in Singapore, and we supported them, and in a way they reciprocated by, you know, displaying a lot of Singapore spirit.
So I feel that these athletes didn't come out of our Singapore sports culture. We might as well have bought the Spanish soccer team and, you know, put them in the World Cup. And that's my opinion. I mean, not taking anything from the athletes. I think they did well. They put in the hard work and everything. But as a Singaporean, I'm actually a bit embarrassed.
So, what do Singaporeans' reactions to the Olympic Games really mean? You just saw a sample of what actually some of the views were like. Let me come to the panel, if I may. Annabelle, let me come to you. A mix, positive and negatives. Some people feeling overwhelming support and proud of the 2 medals. Some people also thinking that the last person, for example, feeling embarrassed about the situation. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. Well, I ask myself, like, if I had a talent or if my child had a talent and couldn't grow it here or get the opportunities here and had to go overseas in order to have it flourish and did well and people didn't accept me or my child, how would I feel, you know, especially if I had contributed. So that's the way it's going. And when we start talking about Singaporeans, who's purebred, who's thoroughbred, I ask myself, I'm a Eurasian. My grandfather, my great-grandfather came from overseas island. I have so many mixtures. Yes, I was born here, but am I a pure Singaporean? How do we start measuring the bronze medal and the silver medals then? So I think when we start looking at things this way, then it's really, you know, something that gives me a cause for concern, because I don't think that this is about sport. Yeah. This is about the athletes who work so hard. Getting to the Olympics is no mean feat, and that is an achievement. You know, all our athletes who got there, Colin and
let's talk to Colin. Actually, I mean, you're in the actual team. You're working with people who might be from the foreign talent scheme. How would you feel if you had to compete for your space, your spot, with somebody from the foreign talent scheme? Would you see it as a foreign talent, or would you see it as another sportsman?
Yeah, I see him as another sportsman. I mean, we always strive for the best, and the more competition will always drive us to do better, I believe.
Okay, so you see it as competition, really, in your case. Yeah. So what did you feel when you saw some of the mixed reactions, some negative there ones as well?
Well, I'm not impressed, to say the least. For me, I just think about the Team GBR athlete Mo Farah, who has become a sensation in UK.
From Somalia?
Yes. Yes, and he is a refugee from Somalia. He moved over when he was 8 years old.
What was the support like for him on the ground there?
Tremendous. Huge. And it was amazing. And even Jessica Ennis, her parents, her mother is from Jamaica. I mean, there was so many mixed athletes, but you know, the British people just cheered them on and like everything else, and were so proud of them. So why are we getting on?
So that's something for us to learn from, maybe. We'd love to hear from the people that were on the ground in London a little bit more. Mr. Chia has called through with a question right now, I understand. 669-10028. Hi, Mr. Chia.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air. Go ahead. What's your point, sir?
Well, my point is that there has been big misunderstanding of the foreign sports talent program, which is not transparent enough for the common people to know. And they have therefore make a lot of misassumptions and using social media, spread a lot of untruth about it, being biased against Singaporeans. So I think, can you maybe enlighten the public? No. what is this foreign sports talent program?
Mr. Chia, thank you for your question. Let's take time to address that. Nick, I think right up your alley, perhaps. Let me come to you with that.
So, Mr. Chia obviously sounds like somebody who has an inside track on the sporting scene and the FST, the Foreign Sporting Talent Scheme, as it's commonly known. We've had this scheme for a while, and the plan was to bring in athletes of a higher level from other countries to come to Singapore to kickstart our program and to lift everybody up to a higher level. Obviously, in some cases, we've managed to spur on some good development from, even in fencing, we've had foreign athletes come, not because we sought them out, but because they happen to be here. And they really do lift the game of everybody else in the country.
We heard from Colin, he sees this competition,
exactly.
Good competition.
And then, of course, we've got Jin Hong, who's a national team coach, who was one of the first sporting talents in Singapore from overseas, and she's mentoring and leading the team now. So, but I think there are two different stories. There's a story about like what some of the guys said, you know, an athlete coming from overseas to play for you and to win for you. Obviously to be remunerated as well. Nobody's running a charity and come here and do it for free. But on the other hand, we want the Singapore stories as well of athletes who have faced the difficulties that we've faced, who've gone through the schooling system and juggled and balanced, like Colin, you know, balanced the national service and all those sort of things, and then come up to do well. And I think these two stories are equally important. We're a small country with not a huge sporting history. We'll talk about sporting culture, I guess, a bit later on. But if we need something to get the ball rolling, and it's working, I mean, look, we've got medals. You can't say that the scheme is not working. We just need to balance out the stories and make sure that everybody else can get buy-in and can get, you know, behind Team Singapore.
And yet, Mr. Chia was talking about this idea of misunderstanding and things getting muddled, you described. I thought it's very interesting as well that there's a lot of things circulating on social media. One is which is an open letter from a poster on Facebook which is circulating, and he says it starts off as Dear Feng Tian Wei, and he almost apologizes to Tian Wei. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Basically, he says that perhaps his understanding is maybe a lot of Singaporeans are unhappy with policies or schemes or the social way things are in Singapore, and somehow are taking this out on foreign-born athletes. Your quick take on that?
I reposted that letter. I think that was a great letter, and it was heartfelt, and it shared a lot of what I feel as well. You know, Tian Wei and the rest of the team come here and they train so hard for us and they do so much for us, and this is how we repay them. You know, and the last guy
could
said
there be
he was
a muddling of things, where misdirecting our unhappiness in some ways?
For sure. I think if people want to make these sort of comments, the guy who at the end said, I'm embarrassed. Well, I'm embarrassed to, you know, that he's embarrassed and having this kind of reaction. Find out what goes into the program. Find out how athletes are selected. But what opportunities are there for you? If we ask you know, a parent, a Singapore parent, would you put your kid through what Tian Wei and what Colin have gone through, would they say yes?
Let's hear from Tian Wei, actually. Tian Wei, what do you think about that? This man wrote an open letter, posted it on Facebook. Nick reposted it. Lots of people reposted it. And he says that maybe we're mixing things up. We're taking out anger on foreign-born athletes because we're unhappy at other things. What do you think about that when you heard about that letter?
我是因为这个我也没有看到，也是刚刚听说吧，所以我觉得本身来讲没有什么，就是个人角度问题嘛，可能站在他们的角度上觉得我们是外来人才，可是站在我们的角度上，毕竟我们努力拼搏。流下的汗水和泪水升的是新加坡的国旗，所以说我觉得对于好的评论也好，不好的评论也好，我们不会去在意很多，只是想把成绩打得更好一点，希望能够带领新加坡去启发新加坡，能够发展乒乓球以及其他的体育项目。
I haven't seen the letter personally, so this is the first time I'm hearing about it, but I really don't feel too much about it. I think ultimately it's a matter of perspective, you know. So people can say what they want, but for us, we are just very proud to be able to raise the Singapore flag. So we'll take the good comments, the bad comments as they come, but ultimately what we want to do is to better the sport and to also inspire more Singaporeans, not just for table tennis, but for the other sports as well.
Okay, I do want to address that one point actually, Tian Wei, if I can again. Do you think that in this letter that Singaporeans are misplacing our anger, that Singaporeans are angry maybe at foreign talent in the working world and are somehow blaming foreign talent in the sporting world?
我觉得可能会有一些这样的想法，其他人对肯定有不同的想法，也有不同的声音。我觉得可能最近我们会是大家最关注的对象，所以也会很多的留言，包括各种反响。我觉得对于外来人才的引进，其实上是推动新加坡发展的。 所以我觉得大家可以换一个角度去思考一下，试着去思考一下，也许效果会不一样。
I feel there is really a lot of different voices. People have their own perspectives, different ways of thinking. Right now, we're the center of attention, the focus, simply because of the Olympics. So there's a lot of talk, a lot of feedback about our performances. But when we think about this whole issue about foreign talent, I think I want maybe to appeal to Singaporeans to look at it from another perspective, another angle. Basically, it's a good thing. It's helping Singapore progress in different ways.
I think I'll jump in there and make a quick point that, I'm very heartened to hear that Tian Wei is able to talk so maturely about this. The kind of pressure and stress and all this sort of talk surrounding the team was a good point. And for them to perform and to deliver under those circumstances is amazing. And for her to be able to say, people are entitled to their views, that's an amazingly mature and very sensible way. And I wish more Singaporeans thought that way.
Let's see what our Singaporeans, I'm losing my voice as we speak. Let's see what some of the people have to say at the phone line. 669100028. ST is standing by. Hi, ST.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for taking my call. I just want to say that I feel we're on the same platform as other countries when it comes to recruiting foreign talents. Because there are other countries who have foreign talents representing them as well. So I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of. And if anything, every point was hard fought. We should be proud of them.
And so what do you say to other Singaporeans who, in our last video, you saw somebody who says he felt a little bit embarrassed, for example?
What about in other instances, let's say we have lecturers in the education system who is helping us to raise our standards here? What about that?
I understand your point. ST, thank you so much for voicing that up. You think that we're on the same playing ground as many other countries when it comes to foreign talent, helping to bolster competition for local sports as well. I want to draw attention back to the poll that's been going on. The big question, are you proud of Singapore's performance at the Olympics? Earlier in the program, about 47% of people were saying no. Right now, the numbers have changed. 59.8% are saying yes. 40.2% are saying no. So less people are saying no, more people are saying yes. Why do you think the swing is happening? Annabelle, do you think our stories here are changing people's views?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I think somebody mentioned about a misunderstanding earlier of what's happening, and I hope that by discussing, all the issues, what the athletes have to go through, what other countries do, that perhaps, some of these feelings that are out there, can be neutralized. And as I said, maybe take up sport themselves, because we learn the best lessons of life from sport: to accept, to respect, to fight hard and never give up. And I think that is all being displayed by Tian Wei now. So,
Nicholas, you talk about the sporting culture, more people taking up sports, more people watching sports. This is the sporting culture that we've been talking about. But I must ask you, and you commented about this in an article that you wrote for the Today paper, do you think it's a little bit too idealistic to say that let's try and create a culture? Because you can't really create a culture. It has to grow and emerge on its own.
I think so, but I think we can do a lot to create the environment that is conducive to this culture. So to create more opportunities for people to appreciate sports as entertainment, for example, to come and watch a sports event instead of going to the cinema or spending time in a shopping mall that's air conditioned, and coming to see. Well, I think so, but I think there's time and place for everything, and to see heroes and heroines like we have here. These are real life people. We don't need an action movie, with superstars. These are real superstars, and these are people that we live with, that live with us, and sacrifice so much for us. How can you not be inspired by those stories? And I think that once we create a nation of sports fans, people who love sports for sports and enjoy the drama, and then you say, well, would you put your kid into sports and let them try and see where they go? More people would say yes. And I think then we would create a better understanding of what sports actually means.
Would most people say yes? I mean, I want to come back to that actually, but right now let's go to Mr. Wong, who's standing by with a call, 669100028. Hi, Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong, you've got to stay on the phone when they put you on hold, okay? We'll come back to you in just a bit. Coming back to that point, I mean, it's been a long argument in Singapore. Tian Wei was describing how when she was 5 years old, she started training and she had to give up schooling life, almost no childhood in some cases. I seriously doubt that would happen here.
I think so, but I think before we get to that level of extreme training and commitment, and that's why we need foreign talent to jumpstart that process, because we're never going to get to the Olympic pinnacle if we don't have that kind of process. But as we're trying to change people's ideas and mindsets, Tian Wei, as I mentioned, she sacrificed a lot of things, but she's an extremely sensible, well-spoken, conducts herself very well on the playing field, and I was stressed, and I can't believe the amount of pressure she must have been under.
Yes.
Colin is an upstanding young man, he flew in this morning, probably on 10 different time zones. He's here and is able to talk
completely jet lagged and about to fall asleep anytime.
So isn't that great? I mean, this is what sports can teach people. You don't get that from reading books, from learning in school. School and education is important, but sports can give a lot to a person's life as well.
We've had a lot of programs behind that. Vision 2030 is something I'm going to touch on with you in just a minute, but we've got Mr. Wong back on the phone lines. Are you there, sir?
Yes.
Hi, thanks for staying on the line. Mr. Wong, what is your question?
Mine? Hello?
Hi, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, to congratulate to and to win the 2 bronze medal for sport, right? And also a good effort.
Sir, I must say that your reception is very poor. Can I ask you to speak up a little bit more, please? Step away from the TV.
Okay. The main point is that I just want to stress out that you use the foreign talent. I don't think foreign talent is correct because they are in Singapore and they are Singaporean. That's all I'd like to make the point there.
Thank you very much.
Well
I
said,
appreciate it. Well said. Annabelle, what do you think about Mr. Wong's comment?
Perfect. I mean, I think that's how we should all look at each other, see what we are contributing, not look for divisive things. Sport unites, and I think it's a wonderful thing. And I think there are many athletes here in Singapore who have shown they can successfully combine studies with sport. I mean, Dr. Ben Tan is a doctor now. There's Nicholas here, and we've got other Stanley Tan, who's a lawyer. There was before us all Dr. Tan Ning Liang, who was the first Rhodes Scholar. It's possible. It's just that maybe there's a little later in time. The lifespan of an athlete is very short. But if you study later and you've got all the maturity and whatever you've learned from sport, you'll bring it all to later life. So it's not impossible to do it, and parents shouldn't fear that. You know?
I've got the last few remaining minutes, actually. Very quickly, Nicholas, 2030, are we on track for that, yes or no? What do you think?
Well, I think 2030, the vision hasn't really been crafted yet. We're still in the public consultation phase, and it'll be interesting to see what comes out after the experiences in London. But I think we do need to do something quick to look at how we can move to 2016 and 2020 and how to keep the momentum that we've built up with these great performances, and then build up those stories I was telling you about and create a good sporting culture that will be sustainable. You know, it's not something about just throwing money at one result. It's about creating a culture and creating something that lasts and builds on itself.
And these men and women have a lot to do with that as well. Colin, what's next for you in terms of sports training and preparing for maybe 2016?
Go back to training tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Is it really?
Oh, come on.
I'll be taking a break for a short while, but these games have motivated me to push on, I think.
Excellent. Do better. And I know you've done so well already. I know that you're going to want to do better. It's amazing. Tian Wei, what is next for you and for table tennis training in Singapore, do you think?
明天就开始准备训练了，因为后边还有比赛，确实是这个月的20多号要去苏州，还是参加比赛，我也没有很多时间去休息，希望能够就是通过这几天短短的休息吧，能够在奥运会中总结一些东西，希望自己的路以后走得会更长、会更远。
She starts training tomorrow, like you said.
What time tomorrow morning?
4:30.
9点上午。
Morning, 9 a.m. There are other competitions that she has to prepare for, and she's going to Suzhou at the end of the month. So basically, she's taking these few days of rest just to think about what what the team and herself has achieved during the Olympics, coming out with conclusions, plan her road ahead.
Fantastic. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today on the program. And I know two of you are fighting jet lag as well, so I appreciate that. That's all the time we have for tonight. I do understand that Tian Wei has something that you would like to say to all the Singaporeans who've been showing support so far. Go ahead.
我还是希望大家能够多多的支持我们吧，所以我也是很感谢新加坡，很感谢许多的支持者。我们会继续努力的，希望能够推动整个新加坡运动的发展吧。你是不是要用英语说？ Thank you, Singapore.
Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for saying that. Thank you all for staying with us on Talking Point The Vote. If you've missed part of tonight's discussion, don't worry, or any of the previous episodes, don't worry either. You can log on to channelnewsasia.com/TP. You can catch up on Talking Point The Vote there. I'd like to thank the panel for joining us, and to you at home for sending us your questions, your tweets, your comments, your phone calls. Thank you very much for joining us. Till next week, with Dominic Lowe returning, of course, I'm Daniel Martin. Thanks for joining us. Good night.